Hi, my name is Josh Cantor. I'm the owner of Evolve Custom Automotive Restoration, a premier classic car restoration shop located in Santee, California, a suburb of San Diego. Today I want to give you a tour of the shop so you have an idea of what it's like here and where your car will be during its restoration. Let me start out with our paint booth. Follow me. This is where we paint cars. And we also do our priming in here and some of our prep work just before paint. So this booth is designed with the airflow coming in the filters from the front and exiting out the rear of the booth. There's a constant steady stream of air so that as we paint cars, there's clean filtered air coming in with no dust particles, and what leaves is also filtered, being responsible for the environment. The result is a clean, pristine paint job that's ready for our finish work. Next, I'm going to show you the disassembly area of the shop. This is where we take cars apart. Now, it might seem like a simple process to take a car apart, but depending on the level of detail to which a shop gives attention to all the tiny parts that come off of a car, this determines what happens when it comes time to put the car back together. So at Evolve, we've developed a very detailed method for carefully cataloging every little piece, such as a tiny washer that came from the engine bay or a nut that came from the suspension, so we know exactly where on the car that part came from. So when it comes time to put everything back together, each item has a detailed label. There are no questions asked, and it doesn't matter if the same technician is working on a reassembly part of the vehicle as the technician who disassembled that part of the vehicle. There is no difference, and all the parts are exactly where we need them to be when it comes time to reassemble the car. Next, I'm going to show you what we call our fill and block station. This area of the shop is where we have disassembled the car already, and we begin to make the body straight with any kind of primers or thin skim of filler that's needed to prep the car for paint. So an example of a car in this stage is here. This car here is a 1970 Porsche 914-6. It's fairly rare given that it's a 6-cylinder. Most of these were made with 4 cylinders. And this is a good example of what we call a daily driver restoration. So this is as far as this car is going to be stripped down. The owner wants it simply taken to this level, repainted, and then reassembled. The next station I want to show you is our metalwork area. So this is particularly for cars that are getting welding or rust repair, like for example a floor pan has been rusted out and we're replacing the entire floor of a vehicle. Or maybe there's a rust spot in one of the rocker panels in the bottom of a door, for example. So you can see here our metalwork table where we can do some shaping and some hammer and dolly work to shape out a panel. This is our English wheel where we can shape panels into curves. And I want to show you a couple examples of vehicles that are now in the metalwork phase of the project. So right here we have a 1945 Jeep owned by the same owner since 1963. And we have this 1941 Ford Woody. This has just freshly come back from sandblasting. It has a layer of epoxy primer all over the body. And this is the only steel portion of the body. The rest of the body is made out of wood. We've already disassembled all the wood panels and they're being shipped out to a local woodworker to have them refinished. So you can see here the extent to which we take down a frame-off restoration, or what we call a rotisserie restoration, and we're going to be doing metal work to repair all these areas you can see here with the rust that look like Swiss cheese. This is one of the most useful tools in fabrication that we have here at Evolve, and it's a multi-tool, so it's a metal brake which actually bends large sheets of metal at a 90-degree angle. And it also has a metal shear, which cuts flat sheet metal. And it has a roller, so you can roll these sheets. So this is all useful when we're fabricating, let's say, a replacement patch panel where we've cut out rust and we need a panel to match the original contour of the car. Now we also have an adjacent suite with additional vehicles and space where the loud metal work can be done, and it's contained so that the volume doesn't distract the rest of the technicians here. Next, I'm going to show you the component restoration area of the shop. So over here, you can see these benches, and then we've got parts organized on racks. Now, these are the parts that have been removed from the vehicle during the disassembly phase, and here they're being worked on. So you can see this radiator here and this wiring harness. So what happens here is simultaneously to the body being restored, the parts that came off the body are restored here. Now, this restoration could take the form of cleaning or repainting or polishing or even sorting out parts to be replated, like chrome plated, or replaced. All of that happens in this station, and the parts are carefully cataloged as they go and sorted into bins according to what treatment they're going to receive. One of the things that's very important to us here at Evolve is the cleanliness and the organization of the physical space and of our tools, so that we know when we reach for a tool it's exactly where we need it to be. So we have a number of shop policies and procedures to support the environment of the shop in being a place where excellence is produced. It's very important to me as the owner of Evolve that our employees here are constantly developing themselves and who they are as people that shows up in their performance at work, ultimately resulting in an excellent finished product. Fortunately, on the team, we have a lot of expertise, many people who have experience even outside this industry and inside this industry in corporate methodologies, which are uncommon inside the industry. An example of this is lean workplace technology that's commonly called 5S. And if you're familiar with what this is, you know what I'm talking about. And it's all designed to organize the workspace in a way that produces results that are predictable and in accordance with the estimate that we've given to the customer. Many of the conversations that the team has here at Evolve are actually quite profound, and some of the conclusions and results that come out of those team conversations are organized into posters on the wall to help the team remember the concepts that empower us in producing results. So for example, here we have organized the attributes of an Evolve technician that support us in being effective. So we have items here like being accountable, being organized, being focused, being intentional. And I've got to just point out this poster, there is no hope. You might be wondering what that means. And it's actually quite profound, because we've found that in those moments where we're hoping for things to go well, that's actually not where we want to be. And we avoid those moments here at Evolve. We do this by creating procedures that are predictable, that we can follow, stable plans of action, step-by-step instructions for ourselves, so that we know what we're going to run into, and when we run into that, we have a plan A and a plan B to solve the issue and produce a predictable outcome. Now, over the years at Evolve, we've combined the many decades of experience that those senior technicians who have joined our team have brought, as well as trial and error to refine the procedures that we've created. And out of all this, one of the beautiful things that has been developed is our 10-phase restoration process. And this is a proprietary method that we've developed here at Evolve, and we've refined it, and it's reflected here in this flow chart. So you can see here the phases that a vehicle follows through the restoration process. Over here on the left is the body being restored. On the right is the parts being restored, replaced, treated, until everything comes together here at the end in reassembly. And so we have an organized flow chart for the vehicle followed through the process all the way to the completed product. Now I want to show you upstairs. Why there's an upstairs is a few months ago we actually ran out of space here at Evolve, averaging 15 projects at one time. At night we're packing all the cars inside, and we just couldn't sustain this forever. So we were faced with a choice. We either have to turn customers away, create a long backlog, or expand. Now fortunately, timing-wise, the suite upstairs had become vacant at the same time. And in our conversations here, somebody at some point raised the crazy idea that we could cut a hole in the roof of our shop and expand upstairs and put an elevator through the hole, lifting cars up onto the second floor into a carpeted office area, clean for reassembling those vehicles that have already been painted. So that's what we did. Let me show you. This is the second floor at Evolve. The second floor is where reassembly occurs. So I want to show you a few vehicles that are here being reassembled. First, we've got the frame from that 1941 Ford Woody. And this is typical for frame-off restoration. You've got a frame that's been freshly powder-coated after sandblasting, and it's ready for everything. Ready for the suspension, ready for the body, and finally the glass and trim and interior. This vehicle over here is a unique car. This is called the BMW Isetta, and this is in the final stages of reassembly. It's about to receive the glass and then the interior. You can see this leather seat here. It's the only seat in this two-person vehicle, and this is about to be put in the car, and the car will shortly be delivered to the customer. Next we come to a car that's right at the end of the restoration process. It's gone through all 10 phases. In fact, this is a car that started out just like the ones downstairs. Every nut and bolt came off this car. It was sandblasted, bare metal car, and then the bare metal was powder coated, the metal was straightened, primers were added, paint prep was done, the car was painted, and you can see here the finished result. This vehicle here, this 1971 Dart, is actually being restored for a museum where it will go on display. This particular vehicle is in the final stages of paint finish before being reassembled. And so you can see here the mirror finish in this paint. This is the result of what we call our cut and buff stage. And this is where we turn the finished paint into this show quality finish. Here on the second floor at Evolve, each car gets its own room for the parts to be laid out in organized fashion as they get put back onto the car. For example, in this room you can see all of the parts organized for this particular car. And you'll notice on these labels here the detail that's put into labeling exactly what these washers and these bolts are, what system they came off of from the car, if they're front, rear, left, right. And you can see the stamp that says ready to install, indicating these parts have had all the treatment that they're going to get to be put back onto the car properly. This is where we organize the panels that are about to be placed back onto a car. So after panels are painted, this is where they go for safekeeping, where they can't be damaged. So here we have panels for a particular vehicle organized. Here we have another vehicle's panels. We've got fenders organized over against the wall there. And on this wall, we have all of the glass panels, side windows, windshields, rear glass, and then lastly, bumpers. You know, 9 years ago when I started this business in my garage at my house, we didn't need an elevator. And we've come a long ways here at Evolve, really as a result of the expertise that exists on our team. I personally have huge appreciation for just plain smart people that we have here on our team at Evolve. And some of the conversations that are had that create the policies and the procedures and develop us as a company occur right here in these offices. This is where the planning for projects occur. This is where our project management meetings happen to make sure that what we promise customers is what we actually deliver. And so my office is here, and my shop manager's office is here, and the shop foreman is here, and senior technicians come into these offices, and we have conversations to create the future of Evolve, all in service of producing outstanding products for our customers. It's very important for us here at Evolve that we don't miss any steps or pieces or just particles of a project. So the heartbeat of how we do work is organized around work orders. So you can see here a few work orders where all the tasks and all the expected outcomes are listed. And then this is handed off to a technician and project manager to accomplish this component of a project. And most work orders are actually a very small component of a project, so we can track that everything is getting done. And you'll see here sign-offs where the project manager and shop manager sign off that work was completed. And this is part of what we call our Kanban system, which is another corporate methodology organized to make workflows smooth and make sure that the next process and the following process are all ready and happen in sequence and in time when they should. I want to thank you for coming along with me on this tour of our shop here at Evolve. I hope you enjoyed it. And look, if you have a classic car in need of restoration, I'd love to have a conversation with you. Maybe your car could be the next one we restore here at Evolve. Hey Jim, how are you? Listen, we just finished phase 4, fill and block. Your car is now ready for paint. You're gonna love it.